Hey, what's up, Otaku Mike here. Let's talk about Alien versus Captain America. Warning, there will be spoilers. Our story starts out in 1944 in Strucker's castle. Captain America and Bucky are there trying to find out exactly where Baron von Strucker are. They are in the hunt for him because he is on a mission currently at the moment for Red Skull to try to find some super weapon of some kind that can turn the tides of this war. We see Captain America interrogating this one soldier, where the soldier is not going to give up his information, because if you know anything about Hydra, if you cut one head off, one always grows back, and he hits this broken tooth in his mouth and his face melts off. It's pretty crazy. So meanwhile in the Himalayas, Baron von Strucker is out there at some kind of outpost or bar. He is looking for a guy to take him to this forbidden city called Attilan. And nobody is paying attention to him whatsoever until he uses his magical electricity glove to get somebody to actually go along with this plan to find this forbidden city. So Baron von Strucker and his Hydra cronies actually get to this cave where they find these hieroglyphics written all over the wall, and they start to research them and decipher them, and they talk about the royal family, specifically the lost royal family of the Inhumans, and how they were this big, huge family who were very powerful and prosperous and, ruled in peace for centuries. And somehow they actually ended up getting wiped out by some kind of plague of creatures. Strucker ends up actually finding this stairway that leads to this big cavernous open area where we find a bunch of the Inhumans royal family buried there, and Strucker's like, what's going on here? Is this a tomb? I thought this would be full of riches and weapons and stuff like that. Like, what's going on here? We find out that when an Inhuman dies, they actually get buried with the thing that actually kills them, and which happens to be a bunch of face huggers and xenomorph eggs. And just like with a lot of the other alien stuff, the eggs open and the face huggers pop out, which leads to this big, huge fight between all of Hydra and these face huggers. Things do not go real well until Baron von Strucker actually gets a hold of one of the facehuggers, and he's like, we could use this as a weapon. So we end up jumping a few days later. We find Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos are actually walking around looking for this soldier who's actually been captured by Hydra. They come across this town and it has been decimated. There are bodies everywhere. Luckily enough, they find a survivor, and the survivor tells them that Hydra used them as a breeding ground for their monsters, and a chest burster pops out of this woman, and Nick Fury goes to grab his gun, but sadly he is not fast enough, and who happens to show up but Captain America, and he saves the day. Alright, so let's take a look at the internal artwork for this book. Here is your creative team right here, which is smack dab in the middle of the book. Give them all the love and respect that they deserve, because they work their butts off on this issue, I have to say. The artwork in this, it is, I would say, maybe an acquired taste. It's not your typical Captain America artwork, but I actually really do like it. I think it adds a real character to this book, because it's kind of like, does its own thing for the artwork. It has a little bit of washed out, probably background and stuff, I feel like, but and kind of almost muted, washed out colors, but I think it really works in this issue for sure. I love all the little details and stuff that we get in this book, with all the different hieroglyphics and stuff. I think that is actually a pretty cool thing. The highlights of this book are the action. The action in this is pretty gnarly. We do get some of that when we see Baron von Strucker fighting the aliens and Hydra fighting the aliens. This is actually a pretty bloody book, which I was surprised by. I didn't know we were going to get a bunch of blood and gore, even though I have seen the Alien movies and there is a bunch of blood and gore in that, but I didn't expect as much in say a Marvel comic. But this one is top notch. I will show you one thing I actually did really like, is this depiction of the Red Skull is pretty gnarly. I thought it was pretty frightening and a little scary. Not as goofy as the normal Red Skull we normally see, but I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, pretty awesome first issue art wise. You're not going to be disappointed. a bunch of alien goodness in this first issue. So what exactly I think of Alien vs. Captain America issue number 1? Well, this is a very fun first issue. I was really surprised, to be honest, that it was a period piece set during World War II. I thought it was going to be possibly like a prequel to like the Alien versus Avengers miniseries we got over a year ago, where it was set in like the far future, but it's not. It kind of does its own thing, where we get this really interesting new history with Captain America and the Xenomorphs, which I really like. I feel like they very much integrated the Xenomorph history and mythology into this Marvel universe pretty well, you know, dealing with like the Inhumans and stuff, which I'm curious to see if the Inhumans are actually still alive and they're living on the far side of the moon with, you know, where they should be. But yeah, I liked it. It didn't feel like shoehorned in like some other crossovers you would get. But I thought they did a really good job in this. Where I have a little nitpick with this should have been called Baron Von Strucker versus Alien. Because Captain America only shows up in the first couple pages and the last couple pages. He's not really in this a lot, but hopefully he will be joining us in the issues to come. But yeah, it was a very fun read. It read very fast. It flowed very well. It was a very bloody comic, surprisingly. There's a lot of chest bursting and stuff. A lot of things you expect to see in like an Alien book or movie. But yeah, I think it incorporates the two properties in a very fun way. And I'm looking forward to see where exactly this is going to go. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. What did you think of this if you read it, or are you going to read it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm Otaku Mike. Peace out. Stay safe. I'll go read some comic books.